Hey, everybody. How y'all doing tonight? Hope that everyone is doing well. Go ahead and drop in the comments where you're watching for as you're hanging out with us today. Got another exciting episode happening tonight.
Hello.
With my co-host Valerie. So we're getting ready to get in some great conversation. Got some two dynamic guests that are going to be coming on tonight to share with us. So we hope you got your notepads and pencils and all those things together, because we're getting ready to get into some serious conversation. Life after divorce, finding love and navigating modern dating. This is going to be good. So while you're waiting, you want to go ahead and share it with your friends or invite somebody in, let them know that we are on and it is happening. It's going down. Let them know that it's about to be great conversation.
It's going to be a good conversation.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Great conversation, huh?
On Monday, it was really good. We had some great highlights and some things that we did. So give us a thumbs up if our audio is good. You can hear us pretty good, because we don't want you to miss anything.
Yeah, we need to make sure y'all can hear clearly. No interruptions. What are you most excited about for this evening's conversation?
The show.
Just the show?
The show. And what's funny, guys, we're celebrating. We just hit our 10th episode. We hit our 10th episode.
Oh,
so
let's give it up.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Where your little
I still don't have my sound effects yet.
No sound
We're
effects
still working on that.
Okay.
So, our 10th episode. So we're doing it big. As you're coming in, we see people are coming in. Go ahead and drop in the comment where you're watching for or who you are, so we can say hi to you. We love to say hi to you. And we're going to be starting momentarily. Had some technical difficulties tonight, but we worked through those. So all is well, and we're excited to get into this conversation. Really excited about this. All righty. So we're going to go ahead and get started, y'all. And those can come in late, but remember, have some good manners. When you come into the room, you're supposed to speak. You're supposed to holler at people because you know us. So say something.
So is that in the comments you're looking for?
Yeah, say something to us. Drop a comment in there. Let us know that you're in there.
Hey, LaQuisha Hines, I Am Down is watching. Hello. Not sure who's that. I love the handle names, right?
Yeah, they're people always tell a piece of their personality and those things. Now, here's what's interesting. I know tonight is not our regular night, so some people probably like, oh, wow. That's why y'all got to pay attention to what we're dropping and click that bell icon. So this will be a great opportunity before we get into this conversation to subscribe to the channel. What's up, Becca Jean? Thank you for joining us tonight.
Good evening.
All right. So glad to see you all tonight. We're so glad. My glasses are extremely dirty. I can't really see a lot, but so glad to see you all tonight, and excited to get into this conversation and hope that you are ready too. So look, tonight is centered around life after divorce. That's a power pack subject in itself. And a lot of times, people feel like that's the end of all, but we have two guests tonight that are going to show you that you can keep living after that, but they're also going to help us with some challenges. For those that might be joining us for the first time, remember this whole month of November, we're dedicating it to relationships. Because we will be turning 25 years of marriage. And we wanted to,
celebrate that.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So we wanted to celebrate that with dealing with relationship.
From all walks of life.
From all walks of life. What's up, Torres? Linder, thank you for sharing in with us. Mother Neil, God bless you. Thank you guys for joining in with us. So we call and put out a call to all the single ladies, and all the single men too. So make sure you tell anybody can come now. This is just not a single show. Like, anybody can come, but we want you to definitely join in the conversation. We're gonna be going on in just a couple of minutes.
So let's talk about something that's pretty awesome here. You look great. So tell the audience what you What you trying with your hair? You got a new look happening. I
Well,
think it looks great. What do you feel?
yeah. Well, today I got some dreads done,
Come
and
on.
yeah, trying
Let's
to
go.
maintain the youth. So I wasn't able to get my into my barber because shout out to Miss Z. I don't know if she's on yet, who did an awesome job, her and Anika. But I wasn't able to get into my barber, so I had to, kind of put some stuff together. But I think we pulled it off pretty good. But yeah,
I
there she
love
is.
it.
Hey, Missy. Yeah, so I had to pull something together because I wasn't able to get in the barber. They were all filled and all that stuff, and so
You're trying something new. I think it looks great.
yeah, so we gonna see what happens with this. So why not? It's 20. We're 25, so why not? Let's do something like that. So
you look great. You look great.
Thank you. So look, if you are watching with us and you would like to join our community, go right over to the website. Now, let me make a correction because I told you to go to the podcast, but for some reason it's glitching right now. I'm not sure what's going on. I got to fix that. But you could go to andredwayne.com and go in and fill out the little query there. But in the Dropbox, put Clarity Lounge, and when you put Clarity Lounge, we'll know and filter that to the necessary spots. So
there we go. There we go.
And we'll go ahead. All right, I'm going to get into the conversation. So we want to utilize all of our time.
You ready?
And bring our guests on. So
just have a few people asking for links and stuff. So I wanted
people
to make
asking for links.
Yeah, they're trying to link on. It's not our normal scheduled night, but again, remember, we're going to be on more frequently in this month. Right. So just follow us so you'll know the schedule.
So bear with us, guys, tonight while we let everybody on here because we don't want anybody to miss it. Thanks, Taj. Taj said, looking good. I'm trying. I try to maintain the youth.
Mother Neil says it gives you a smooth look.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Like I ought to play a saxophone. I don't know why I feel like I ought to play a saxophone with a I don't know. I just feel when I was in the mirror
like a smooth groove.
Yeah, I wanted to grab a saxophone and maybe remind me of Najee or something. I don't know.
That's different.
That's just anyway, that's
I mean, if you feeling saxophone-y.
Just like y'all ladies, when y'all get new hair, y'all want to buy new something and all that stuff. But all right, y'all.
I love it.
We getting into this. So now, without further ado, we're gonna bring on our guest. This young lady is a good friend of ours, and she is, just witty and a brilliant brain. Her personality just lights up any room that she walks into. And we invited her to come and express and share with us and just share her views. Like I told you all before, these are our views and opinions. Everybody have them. So don't inbox us with anything because I'm not going to respond because these are our views, but we want to invite them on the platform just to share. And
share their story. And I think that's what it is. If you're looking for clinical here and the experts, like professional experts that's going to give you all the right rules of dating, hey, these are people's real life stories and this is what works. And we want to make sure that we're talking to not just, single people that have never been married, but all walks of life. Because some people, they've been there and not by way of something they've done on their own, but just some life experiences, brought them to a place where they had to, divorce or separate. But hey, finding love again, what does that mean? Because we've talked to people, we know friends that are still in that space of like, can I ever love again? What does that look like? And so the two guests tonight have an incredible story. And so it's all about sharing their story to bring hope and healing and just to let people know that, hey, you can love again, you can still do it right, and you can still have what you desire, but also on the journey to getting there, what should that look like, especially as believers of Christ, right? As Christians, right? Because again, this is a God-centered platform. So we're going to put Jesus in there. And how should dating look? And it is tough. And we're hearing that we're not there, but we want to make sure that we're bringing on guests that can really speak to it. So yeah, just give them some love as they bring to the stage. So our boss, she's a boss, she's a friend, she's a mom, entrepreneur, she's a youth director, she's a sister, she's a daughter, she's so many wonderful things. I call her my BF. And so Miss Carolyn Rhodes from Virginia, you want to bring her up first, or we going to introduce both our guests and then bring them on?
Yeah, I'm trying to find my effects.
Oh, you still trying to locate effects? Okay, I thought I did a pretty decent intro.
You did. Go ahead. I won't worry.
No, you just kind of that just kind of killed. You're supposed to like pop and I bring her on, and then we're still here.
Okay,
that didn't work. We didn't do it right.
Y'all forgive us. I had effects on here, but I can't find them right now. I don't know where they are, but it's some clapping them hands and all that.
So while he's finding special effects, our second guest that we're bringing on to the stage, I say to the stage, but bringing to your front here, a man of God, and I tell you, he's full of wisdom. I love his story. I can't wait till y'all hear the great testimony of life and just what it's looked like for dating after divorce. Definitely a man after God's own heart. So coming from the state of Florida, down south, Jawara Jenkins. So we'll be bringing him to the front here whenever you get your special effects going.
I don't have, so I'm going
to bring him up. Okay.
All
there we go.
Hey, Miss Carolyn, how are you?
Hey, Carolyn, how are you?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
We can hear
Perfect.
you great.
You look great.
Mr. Rhodes, how are you doing?
Doing well. All is well. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Perfect.
all is well. Great to have you guys.
Thank you both for joining.
Yeah, it's been already a pleasure. So I know we're getting ready to get into this conversation. So what I want to do first, we'll start ladies first. Carolyn, just tell a little bit about yourself and who you are. We told them, but you tell them who you are.
Okay. Well, my name is Carolyn Rhodes. I am a woman of God who is also a mother. I have a mother of an amazing teenager son. I'm a business owner. I'm a woman that is very humorous. I love life. Let's see. Since I am, looking forward to the dating phase, I'm gonna go ahead and just put on my profile. I love long walks on the beach. I love outdoor things. I love comedy shows. I love to laugh.
There we go.
I really do love. I love children, as you mentioned, Lady Val. That I am youth, also over our teens and our youth department at my church. But yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
All right. Thank you. And Mr. Jawara, if you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I am a single man. I pastored churches for a while. I'm not pastoring now. I have 3 children that I've raised. They are 20, 22, 21, and 19. I own my own consulting company, consult with the local utilities in my area. And I've started kind of as a hobby, a beard oil company as well. I'm a civil engineer by trade. I really love the Lord and I really want to serve him. I love missionary work. I've been overseas and I want to continue to do that.
All right.
Well, shameless plug. I actually ordered some of his oil and it was amazing. You mentioned he did a beard. Yeah. And I asked if women could use it because it's for hair growth. And he was like, yeah. So it's for ladies, you can also get some of his oil. It was pretty good. So anyway. That's what
my daughters take it from me. They steal it all the time and put it in their hair. So I have to watch it.
Well, make sure during some point or at the end, drop your website or your how can people order from you? Yeah. Where can they locate it? Social media handles. Make sure y'all both post that because I know Carolyn, you can share a little bit about at the end what you actually do too. I think it's definitely something we all need.
I didn't ask you all to do this, and if not, it's totally fine. But just for the audio purposes, do you all have headsets or earplugs that you can put in your ear? Because it's going to keep looping. Okay, we don't. Okay, we'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Where does looping?
You hear the feedback like when they're talking.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. But
I don't hear it. Oh, you can hear it.
Well, they're not talking, but when they talk, you hear it. But
okay.
We'll get through it, guys. I'll take that. That was my production. I didn't tell y'all that I should have did that, but. Next time when y'all come back. So let's jump into this. And I'd like to start with the ladies first. Carolyn, just tell us a little bit about your journey from marriage, if you don't mind sharing, and then to where you are now.
That is a loaded question. My journey? My journey has been full of unique twists and turns, I will say. So I have been divorced now for 10 years, and I was married for 5. And due to infidelity, we separated, we divorced. And this journey has been one of a lot of, I think my biggest thing I had to learn throughout this journey was to be vulnerable, not only just to people, being able to allow them into close spaces, but with God, because I truthfully, I trusted him in areas that I felt like were working well. And since the relationship failed and it was ended in divorce and everything, I carried myself as if, well, I got this part, and then now I'm in a place where I trust him. But it was part of my journey, learning how to be vulnerable with God and to allow him to heal me and to love again and to enjoy life again and to be happy and to find joy. So my journey has been unique, but I'm thankful for it. I think that I have learned a lot about myself. I'm learning a lot about myself, and I'm learning how to, even in the midst of still being single, I'm learning how to embrace everything that has come and that's coming. So
absolutely.
I know it's kind of vague, but yeah, that's been my journey. It's been a pleasant journey.
Okay. And I want to set this one up as Jawara. Like, can you share a personal experience of what it was like at the beginning of your healing process after your divorce, and just kind of give us a brief, like, the condensed version of kind of what happened and what hastened you to that point of healing through it to where you are now?
And that's for Jawara. Yeah.
Yeah, Jawara.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I think healing. What happened with me is that when I got divorced, I got custody of my children when my youngest daughter was 8 months old. Then I had a 2-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. And so I felt a lot of, you feel kind of like I had a stigma about divorced people. And my stigma was that, and I would not have said it in such words, but that if they got divorced, they made a very bad choice or they didn't try hard enough. And when I got divorced, I couldn't understand how I ended up here, And so it really took God to really kind of humble me and show me that, things happen. You can do your best. You can make your best effort. You can try to save your marriage, and it still could fall apart. And it was really hurtful because I kind of felt like a failure. I kind of felt like how will I get married again, right? When you go through, and I just say this, when you go through a divorce, especially as a man, I lost my house, I lost my car. I fought as hard as I could. Financially, you're trying to, my ex-wife was a stay-at-home mother, so I had to try to find all that daycare money, and it became difficult. And so I began to see myself. I told my best friend this. I said, I don't know how I'm going to marry again. I don't know how I'm going to date again because I feel like I'm just a project. I wanted to be a knight in shining armor for someone, and I'm just a project. And he looked at me and he said, Jay, man, he said, we're all projects. And that was kind of the beginning of my healing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
And you said a lot of good nuggets because dealing with a lot, especially as believers, it can be a very shameful time going through a divorce, right? Because like you said, the narrative that goes with, or the stigmatism is like, it's almost like you're lame, like you're a leper, and like psychologically just dealing with all of that, the impact of just that, if you will, outlook from the church, And that was good. That was really powerful that you said that. So you got to deal with that. And then you have to deal with the baggage and the casualties that come with you splitting that union, and you had kids involved. Tell us, Carolyn, like, what were some of the pain points in that journey of separation?
Well, you mentioned one, which was shame. But then having to explain and balance that with my son was a huge pain point. I did not ever want to be divorced. I never even thought infidelity would even happen. I thought other things would happen, but I didn't think that was even going to be an option for me. So when it did happen, of course, the shame came. And then how do you explain this to your kid? And then in a new area where you're pretty much by yourself, meaning like there's no family here. So you're trying to have to, and just like when Gerard was talking about his wife, I was like the stay-at-home mom. So now I'm having to find a career. That was a pain point, and sustain, and then also trying to keep that smile on my face, even though I'm hurting. I'm trying to figure things out for my kid. That was difficult. So I think those were the major ones. And then just trusting again. I created, Pastor Neil, I had a nice shield on, a nice layer of, I'm not going to let this happen to me again. So that was a huge one. Just and like I mentioned earlier, it was not only with people, but I felt some type of way, like I was disappointed by God. Like, how could this happen? So I had this big, just almost like protection shield against me, or with me against other things. So I hope I'm answering the question.
You are. We just strolling along. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. Because that actually was going to be my next question to y'all. Like, did you ever feel like, man, God, you really jacked me up with this one? And I think Jay, can I call you Jay?
That's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah, because I don't want to. I've been known to mess up.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
And like Jay said, it was like that point that you're like, wait, God, this is not what this is supposed to be like. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm doing the best that I can, but then bam, this happens. And it's like a clashing of worlds that you gotta, and I know sometimes life can hit us so hard. It's literally like your days, like, what just happened? So it takes a minute to kind of, get those components to working together. So what was the moment, Jay, that you kind of settled down, and after that explosion, I'll call it, and you kind of settled down and say, okay, I got to pick up these fragments of my life and start positioning and getting this stuff together. What does that look like?
Even going out here, just I'm sure there's a level of healing. Trust had to be rebuilt before you get to the point that you're like, all right, I'm ready to date again. But before that point, what was that phase like for you both? And I think we're starting with Jawara.
Yeah, when I went to pick up my children at the kind of the meeting point and drove back, it was the Christmas holidays. My mother was up helping me, and I'm having to change diapers and make bottles, Similac, and bought a high chair, and I'm trying to cook, and I'm trying to, I'm driving them to the daycare and going across town. Jacksonville is the largest city in the nation land-wide. I'm driving across town to work and then going to pick them up and coming home, and it was so, everything was so reactionary that I didn't have time to think, really. I was just surviving. I don't, it was just reacting. It really wasn't, this deep thought. I was just surviving. And it took me, when the economy crashed, I think around 2008, 2009, and our economy went from, my job went from 40 people to 4. So I was one of the last 4, and then they let me go. And I had all of my children at that time were in elementary school. They were VBK, first grade, and kindergarten, first and second grade. And that's when it hit me, because for the first time, I was able to spend time with them as opposed to just taking care of them, because I was in the house and I was able to walk them to school. I was able to pick them up from school. I was able to talk to them. And I think that's when I realized, okay, you're not just taking care of children and surviving. You have a family here. That they have personalities. One liked to talk. One was athletic. One asked a lot of questions. And I was actually getting to know my children, and that's when it really hit me that this is going to be my life for a while, and I might as well kind of get used to it.
And that's I'm loving this. That is so genuine, and thanks for your transparency, because you really show how there was a transition, there was a graduation, if you will, from this point to this plateau, and there were telltale signs along the way. Which is a lot of times, we could be so wrapped up in our dilemma that we miss God is teaching us through those moments. Like God have those teachable moments, and even your heart is rent, but you still have those teachable moments of working through and finding out what it is. And you saw out of that spending more intimate time with the kids and not just surviving, as you put it, which was really good. What was some moments for you, Carolyn, where you like, okay, I got to progress through this. This is what my life is going to be like. So let's pick this up and keep it moving.
When I had to go and figure out how to live in a new place by myself, I was like, oh, this is different. Having to figure out this, navigate everything. It was, at first it was just, okay, he's overseas somewhere and I can just stay home and make sure everything's okay. Now it's, no, you have to go out, you have to find a job and create now this space in this home for us. So that was a huge turning point for me, was trying to figure out how to, and then to trust people who's not like your family. Sometimes you need a babysitter. Sometimes you got to get that help to come and help. And it's like, okay, who are you going to call? So that was difficult, or that was a nice transition and learning period for me. And honestly, just getting back out there and trying to seem normal, making friends, going on dates. It felt different. It felt, I was still guarded, but still trying to live somewhat of a normal life. Not be so cooped up to where I didn't enjoy the things around me. But it was a huge learning period, because even though you want to enjoy the quote unquote normal life, you still have so much on your mind and on your heart, and you just really can't be, because you're not truly happy, you're not truly free. So you try to figure out how to exist, really. Yeah.
So do you all feel like your perception about love and relationship change drastically because of the impact of the divorce? Do you feel like that had any kind of, and you kind of touched on a little bit of it.
And she's laughing like, and if so, how, in what way?
Yeah, in what way?
I'll say that my view of love became much more doctrinal and less emotional.
Oh, that's good.
When I said, okay, I know I want to get married. I wasn't one of those people that was bitter and angry. I knew I wanted to get married again.
Okay.
And it's my divorce ended. I was separated in 2005, and divorce ended April 2006. And I knew. I said, I'm gonna wait about a year. They say wait a year for every 4 years you're married to get yourself together. And I said, okay, I'm ready. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to look at the person that I'm dating or that I'm interested in. I'm going to see if they have the characteristics of love as described in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8. Yeah. I'm going to see if it's there. You know, in other words, and not just with me.
Mm-hmm.
What is their character like? Are they a loving person?
Wow.
Because I've never believed. I don't think you fall in love as much as you're a loving person, and then the relationships determine the boundary of your love.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like love will go into as large of a container as you can place it in. So there's boundaries to the love that you can show to your enemy, as opposed to what you might show to a stranger, as opposed to what you might show to a brother in Christ. You know, and it gets a little broader maybe for a family member. And then finally, your spouse, you can pour just about all the love, you know, that you have into her or him. So if you're a loving person as a whole, you'll love me. You know, and so I, you know, if a person was not loving to a cashier and nasty, you know, to their coworkers and lied, I said, okay, I don't care how good they make me feel. Eventually, that their true self is going to come out. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Carolyn, go ahead and jump in there. The same question. The perception of that.
Well, mine was not as eloquent as so mine came through my healing process, and I will say that upon initially getting divorced, it was, if I saw another couple getting together, engaged, married, I would be like, that ain't gonna last long.
Don't do it. Yeah.
That was the first phase, like, okay, just give it a few
minutes.
Right. And then it went through my healing process, and as God was restoring me, and then it went from, okay, well, hope, like, I hope that that this could happen for me. And then now it's like, I desire it, and I do desire very similar to the scriptural version of love. That's not envious, not selfish, not self-seeking. I do hope for that. So I think that's been my journey from divorce.
But I like the transparency. Yeah, no, but it's a real thing, because most people are there, and what you mainly stated, you realize there was more healing that had to happen. And so it's for you, and for different people it takes time. It depends. And then the situations are very similar but different. I mean, you're a mother, you're a female that had to go and make a different type of adjustment than Jawara as a male that could do this and have a different feeling. Just in the fact that you're two different beings, can already in itself says that, hey, those experiences are going to look very different. Even the emotional part, the healing process. But I love, the key thing is you got to get healed if you're going to believe in love again, and believe in it now this time, because I think there's a level of a lot to have learned out of the first experience to the next. And that's what I am hearing you both say, which I know we're going to dive into now. When you talk about your current state, like, okay, we get through the healing process, we determine we want love again, we want to be married again, we want to experience companionship again. So what does that look like now in your seek? We hear, I mean, we're going on 25 years, so we haven't been in the dating game for a minute, but we do hear a lot of interesting stories.
I pray for all,
especially at different ages, but even at different ages, there seems to be quite some similarities around dating as Christian, as believers of Christ, right? And so, Carolyn, what has this, now that you're healed from it and you're hopeful for it, what does that look like for your current state?
As far as dating?
Like dating, what are you coming across?
Pastor Neil, I need you to pray. I need you to fast and pray, Pastor Neil. I need you to fast and pray.
Fast and pray. It's tough.
Yes, it is. It is unique. Because I still got hope, but it is definitely unique. And I will say that, guys, I'm not sure if it's because of the lessons I've learned, and then the expectations of what I see and what I know that I desire to have. And sometimes, I know that I'm in my 40s. I'm kind of set in a certain way of thinking and way of doing things. Now that I've been single for so long. So I do my best not to put too much judgment or expectation out there. I try to stick to what I believe is the core things that I think matter, and try not to be so like a much of a stickler on, well, girl, did you see them shoes he had on? Like, it wasn't working. So I try not to think about that part of it. But dating has been, I'll just say this one story. I went on a date this summer, and if he's on here, praise God. And I will say we went out to eat. And I'm thinking about, as he's talking, you listen to people's words, that matters, let them talk. But as he was talking and we were sitting at the dinner table, he just smacking away like a whole mouthful of food. And so I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, how do I know this is irritating me, but I don't want it to be like like something that deters me from getting to know someone. Like, is that just like a personal thing? Like, do I just focus on the core values? So I think about, I know it seems small, but and I know that there will be things that I may irritate someone else with, you know what I mean? Like, this is part of dating, but I do my best to focus on the core things and not allow. Now we ain't dating, so as you can see, the smacking didn't work for me, but I'm just kidding. But yeah, I try my best to focus on the core values. I think that's the biggest thing for me, focusing on the core values.
Gotcha. What about you, Jawara? Same question. What are you facing in your seek for that wife again?
I think it's there's two things that are challenges. One, logistically, once you get older, I know Carolyn can attest to this, like, you're not as flexible as you were when you were 20 or 22, 23. I have a job and I have certain clients here in this area. The person that I meet may have a job in Miami, and let's say they're a school teacher where they can't leave because they could lose their tenure. Or I know another young lady, like, my parents are in their 70s. So I'm really hesitant to relocate further away from them. They're in the same area. And I might meet a person that's my age and they're in that same situation. They want to move kind of closer to their parents. So you have those challenges. You have a career. Whereas if you're 20, you can just 22, 23, you can just start your career over or try something different. But you're kind of settled. And so it's difficult sometimes to just relocate or move for both persons involved. Another thing is that dating has changed since when I dated and married, it was 2000, and now it's 2024, 25. And it has become, in my opinion, much more commercial.
Wow.
There is a kind of, I think, in an attempt to get away from as long as you love each other, you can get married, and try to explain to people, no, there are practical things that need to be in place for marriage. I think we've overcorrected. Where it's almost like, okay, if you make over 80,000, that's 1 point. If you make 40,000, that's -1. If you have a child, that's -2. If you have 3 children, -3. If you've never been divorced, -4. If you can relocate, +2. And if your looks are 9 or 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, then that's a +2. If it's 5, then it's a -1. And so it's like people are bartering.
Wow.
And they have prenuptials, they have this now. You never heard people talking about prenuptials 20 years ago. And now you hear, and so it's like, whatever happened to let's fall in love and try to make this work. Like our grandparents did, like our parents did. We love each other. We're going to work this out. But not if he has his own house, that's +3. If there's an apartment, -1. Whatever happened to just, loving one another? And that's
because
I'm seeing.
Well, Jay, I think and I'm speaking from of course, a woman's perspective. If I was to go, and I don't use the whole bartering on demerit system so to speak. But the past experiences really help shape how you think. So in your 20s, you're thinking, oh, let's just fall in love and, love. And then, we can kind of work through it. But then I'm in my 40s. I don't know how old you are, Brother Jay, but you kind of be more, a little bit, you factor in a little bit more than just love. Because truth be told, I don't hate my son's father. I love my son's father. But what happened, I can't live off that. Now there's other things I have to consider. And one of the biggest things I consider really is, how he fathers his children. I look at that, I listen for that, because, whoever I'm going to be in connection with, I think about, well, he's going to be modeling this, figure or this man of God for my son. So I do believe that, the spontaneity and the idea and, and I get it though. I get the concept of just, of the basic things of just love. But at the same time, life and experiences make you be a little bit more cautious. Now you ask more questions. And I think that could be the reason why we have such a hard time. I won't say you, but why I, could be experiencing such unique things, because people have they have experienced life. And where it was just love, that ain't, Tina Turner be coming to play real quick.
I understand. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing with people who've been hurt, been through divorce. You see it with Thomas. Unless I touch the nails, prints in his hand and his side. When you've been disappointed,
right?
You start wanting people to prove themselves.
Okay.
And we have to be careful that you don't. There's a difference between, and it's different for everybody, between practical preparation, because I don't want to make the same mistake again, and trying to negotiate any future hurt out of a relationship. You can't. Love by nature is going to require some vulnerability. It's not a safe endeavor. It's going to require some risk. It's going to require. There's going to be some misunderstanding. There's going to be a potential of heartbreak. There's going to be disappointment, and we're going to have to work through all of that and trust God to bring us to the other end. And you say, okay, you know what? This really does work. This person really does love me, and that means, and you may experience some hurt. So I think we've. And I'm not saying you particularly, but I'm just saying what I'm seeing people do as a whole is like they're just trying to make sure that they never get hurt again. And by the time you make all these demands, you might as well just marry yourself,
That makes sense, because that's why they marry yourself. And I think each, and Jay said it, it's going to be a case-by-case scenario of what works for an individual. Now, of course, we have the biblical reference. We always going to keep it Bible. But what that looks like for an individual, and I always tell people, because a lot of times we talk to couples, and you'll find out, because everybody know about the whole love language thing. Well, this is my love language, all that kind of stuff. And those are things to be considered. However, like you said, you can know your love language. I can know my love language, but still, I think the question marks, are we compatible? And I think that's kind of, because if we're compatible, then we're going to have working motions to get through those things. And when you're just, and I can understand like what he was saying, like when you're just operating from a hurt place, I call it template. You're templating your life from last time. Well, last time they did this, I'm not going through that no more. I don't care who that. It will not happen. And it's like you gate yourself out from, and I'm not saying that nobody on here. I'm just saying what I've seen. You gate yourself out from that experience of welcoming in that person that could be a potential. So one of the things I always ask people, and I think, and we're going to try to kind of transition to this, I find it interesting that people can always say what they don't want,
but hard to say what
you want. Well, I don't want this brother.
Do we sit down and
and I heard Carolyn mention the value system. What is our value system, and what are we looking for in a potential? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to have some kind of what it is that you're looking for. And I always say, like, if we go look for a car, we're going to talk about it. What kind of car we want? How many people? We're going to factor in, is it going to be a family car? Is it a car ride on water? You know, what that car look like. So now when we set out to look for that car, not that we pull out our list, but we have some type of, you know, a point of reference. And I see that thing in dating, because God bless y'all. It would be a wrap for me. I'm gonna be totally. I told Val that for me. I'm telling you, because I would be the one that set in my way and like, this is how it is. And I ain't going through, because we joke about that. I told Val, I'll never want to go through none of that, because I don't know if I'm being honest. I don't know if I could do it, because you know it took a lot of time of learning you.
You wouldn't be right.
I know. I'm just talking about me. You know, it's like learning what you don't. You know, get up out the bed, turn on the light, and I'm mad. Go, you know, pick up towel. I like learning all that stuff. I just give me a puppy and call it a day.
But it's easy to say when you're not there, though.
Yeah,
you know, because most people you come out of it feeling that way, but then you realize, who wants to do this thing called life without a you know, but a husband or wife? I'm just saying there was a question I want to make sure we get, because you know, we want to make sure we're hearing from our audience too. We kind of hit on this a little bit, but if there's anything else that either one of you can add to this question, did either or both of you wait to heal before dating, and how long did you allow the process?
That's a good one.
I think Carolyn started to it, but Jawara, I don't think you really hit on like that healing place for you, sort of, kind of. But what would you add, or how would you answer this question for?
I waited about a year before I even looked at another person, because I just didn't know where I was.
Wow.
I didn't even know what to be looking for. You know, I just, like Carolyn said, you're trying to figure out how to function.
Right.
You know, if I date someone, you know, what if they have kids? I have 3. What if they have 3? That's 6 kids. You know, we got to try to figure out, you know, how do you navigate that? You know, what do I have to do? And then too, and this is for a guy, you need, and you know this, Pastor, as a guy, you need money to date.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You have to, you know, if you're old school like me, you're going to pay for the meal, you're going to pay for the car, you're going to do things. And you're thinking about, if you're dating to marry, you're thinking about, okay, we need to get a home, we get to move. And I'm thinking, okay, well, my credit score isn't right because of the, you know, this happening, that happening, you know, so it takes a while even to get on your, you know, to get on your feet, you know, to be able to date.
That's good. That's good.
Wow. Well, I thought I was healed. I did, but I wasn't. So I started to date when I felt like, you know, I was in some way, form, or facet like myself. But I really wasn't healed, because I realized that whenever things would happen in a relationship, and if I could feel a trigger, or if I see something, I was cut off. You know, I'm not dealing with it. So I knew that. So Mother Neil, no, ma'am, I didn't. I thought that I was healed, but I wasn't. And then when I started to recognize that I needed more healing, then I started to do things alone. I didn't want to date because I was lonely. I was learning how to enjoy my own company. So I started to learn how to take my own self on trips and take my own self on places, and being comfortable with and knowing myself from a new place. And then when I started to be comfortable in that space, then it's like, okay, you know what? I'm ready. You know, now I believe I'm ready, because I'm holding a different way. And I can enjoy my own company. Like, I really can see myself. I'm learning myself. Before, I liked a lot of certain things when I was married or when I was broken. And now in this healed place, there's certain things that I'm realizing that have changed. And I think that I didn't realize the things that had changed until I spent the quality time to myself. So now, so I did both.
Yeah.
So how do you, with all that being said, how do you allow yourself permission to move forward from that, Carolyn? Because you said you like that moment you knew you weren't healed. Well, what was the telltale sign that you were ready?
That's a very good question. That I was ready. I had to face in the quiet moments things that I was running from. I would intentionally avoid certain vulnerable moments with God. I didn't want to even address certain things. So when I was ready to sit down and literally address the things within myself, and I knew that if I could have a conversation, if what used to bother me didn't bother me no more, the sting wasn't there. I wasn't, because my scissors was my scissor game.
Cut.
It would be as if I didn't even know who he was. When I knew that I could move, and to be honest with you, divorce helped that. I couldn't just move away from my ex-husband. We share a child. Learning how to love and to forgive in that space with, is purging still. Sometimes I still get frustrated. I mean, co-parenting is a whole different thing. But it's allowing me to know that I'm healing and healed in a lot of areas, because I'm having to deal with someone that I can't just run from. I can't just be like, bye. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Wow, thank you for that.
That's been, and I could imagine, like in that space and place, like just pushing to that place. And you said something that was really, we don't see a lot of people navigate through that. And I know Jay mentioned that too. Being able to, the Bible talks about different types of love.
Yeah.
And one particular is brotherly love, or the phila that you have for mankind, of just showing yourself cordial with your spouse. You know what I'm saying? And not just being in that place where I hate your guts, because like you said, you all were self-defining your new norm, right? You're self-defining your new norm, like this is normal and it's okay. And a lot of times I can imagine and I always say this, anything you lose, you're going to experience grief.
Yeah.
That's anything. A lot of people think that it's got to be a death. Anything you lose, you experience grief, and it's a process. You go through ups and downs, emotions, and all those type of things until you get to the place, like you say, like Carolyn said, you got your footings back, and you're like, okay, I know I got this. I can, I might have a moment, but I can walk through this. So now let's fast forward that we went through all that, we shared all that, we got that skin together. So now you're back in the dating arena. What are some things, Jay, that you look for in a woman, a potential? Like bring material.
I would say I would want her to be someone that I would want my daughters to emulate. I would want them to, I would say, okay, if you carry yourself like her, you'll be a good wife. You'll be a godly woman. But I'm really looking for someone, Pastor, who has a vision that lines up with mine. Gotcha. I want to be able, I don't want a person in a marriage feeling like they got a raw deal. I want you to really feel like, I tell people, I'm looking for someone that when we get to heaven, we'll be able to say that, I'll be able to say, I have more of a reward in heaven because I married her. She has more of a reward in heaven because she married me. And so our vision has to be the same. If I want to do evangelism, I want to do missions on a regular basis. I want to open up our home to people, and she's going to be a hospitable person. You can't be back in the room, reading the book or whatever. You got to kind of come out, be amongst people. You're going to have to be able to go places and get to know people. You don't have to have the same exact personality or like the exact same things I like. But I don't want a person that feels like my life is a burden to them.
Come on.
And the same thing. I don't want to feel that way toward them. I want them to feel free to be themselves in Christ. God called them. So that's important to me. Whatever that looks like, I don't do anymore. They have to be this tall, this short, they have to be shy, they have to be outspoken, they don't have to be. I'm learning. I have learned that it is possible to like different things.
Right.
I was surprised. I learned that my preferences are not as rigid as I think they are. You think I bought a minivan once, and I thought I would never buy a minivan until I saw one. I was like, oh, I like this. I didn't think I would like one, but I like it. And so you may think you don't like something, but you haven't seen, when God brings it to you, you go, oh, wow, God brought me a version of this that I'd never seen before.
That's true.
Right.
So I've learned to be open to that and just kind of have the vision out there.
Ooh, Jay, I don't know about that minivan. I still say I can't. I tell him, I was like, that's one. Do not put me in a minivan.
Wait till you see the Lamborghini minivan, then you might like it.
Okay, then you might can tell me on that one, but I'm like, ooh, God bless you. No, but that's good. No, I'm just being comical, but that's awesome.
I know what really when we initially talked to Jay, I was so just enamored about when you and everybody getting the condensed version, because this brother, I mean, and I told Val, I said, oh my God, you don't find men that have that detail together, like what they're looking for. And I'm so serious. I talk to brothers, and they're far in between that. You'll find I'll be 53, or I am 53. I'm 50. I'm somewhere around. I'm 50. I'm somewhere around there. But just young men that I talk to don't find that, and you'll ask them, how you expect to be that visionary for somebody when you don't understand the vision for yourself. You don't. You're up and down, all that kind of stuff. So, and I always challenge people with, nowhere in the Bible did it challenge the woman to love the husband. It said, husband loves your wife, women submit. And it's a cycle, because what it is, as you love her, as Christ has demonstrated, she's going to want to submit, because it's more than just emotional. There's a lot to be conceptualized in that word when we say love. It's a lot that goes in there. When you're building a biblical based relationship, what I'm saying.
Yes.
Because to the world, that ain't gonna mean nothing. Like, whatever. Love is more than trinkets and things and stuff and all that kind of stuff. So when he said that, let me get back on subject, what I'm saying. When he said that, it just really blessed me, because you don't find that. And I believe from what we've seen, people don't understand what their core values are. So if you link somebody, you don't understand what your core values are. So how can you invite somebody into that to union with, if you don't understand the dynamics of what you can take and what you can't? Like some things like, oh, that's a deal breaker. Not that it's a bad person or they're unpleasant, but that's not going to work for me. And he made it perfectly clear. Right. He's looking for a young lady that's going to do missionary work with him. He's looking for something. Now, so nobody can say, oh, add that too much. I ain't doing all. No, you ain't the one. You ain't the one. We ain't drinking no juice with you. We ain't gonna do no bubble gum. You ain't the one. And I think if we would get more, and I don't mean rigid, like check off the boxes, but I'm saying just have some type of scope and view of what it is that we're looking for. And if Ned from afar, you want somebody with red hair, and he's coming with a baseball cap or ball, why would you invest time? That's what I don't get. I don't get that.
Pastor, you make a good point about having your own vision. Like if the average Christian man is just church, ESPN, and video games, then it's you're gonna have a hard time. You don't know what you want.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
You don't know what you want.
Exactly.
And so you're gonna frustrate yourself and her. You have to be vested in Christ, and you have to be vested in this person.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Carolyn, when you gonna chime in to when that video game, Carolyn was like, oh no, no video game playing. So what are some things you're looking for in your potential mate, Carolyn?
Well, listen, he got to look good to me. He got to be fine in my eyes. I don't want to, have a moment of intense fellowship, and I say something like, you know what? That's why you ugly. I'm kidding.
Can we pause for one moment? Because I want all the church folk to understand this. What she just said. There's nothing wrong with you being physically attracted to your mate. Stop being super spiritual. Oh my goodness. I just want to, because I know you prayed, Lord, send them all that kind of stuff, but the first thing you saw was their appearance.
Yes.
That's the first thing you saw. And then you start hearing, but anyway, now back to you.
And I second that, Pastor. I second that. So I do want him, I want to be attractive to my husband and to the man that of course, I want him to be a man of God. That's just like goes without saying. I want him to be a loving man, not only to myself, but to my son. I want my son to feel also that he is being listened to, that he is someone that he can confide in and talk to. I don't ever want him to feel like this is mom's relationship. I want it to be, an us thing. I do want someone who has a vision, but also understands mine. I understand that we may have different visions because he had one before I met him, but I want us to be able to help and to cultivate and to push one another. I want us to be able to grow one another. I would hate for, me to come talking to him about Expedite and then I couldn't, bounce ideas and we couldn't grow together. And the same thing for him. If he had an idea about a business or about something God told him, I would love to be able to help in that area. So I want us to both help each other out with what God has called us to do with our businesses, with whatever it is that God has placed on our heart. I want somebody who's fun. I love to laugh. So I want someone who enjoys life and understands that, laughter is good for the soul. So I want to be able to have fun with my mate. And I do want him to be financially, or at least be open to being financially sound. I'm not a fan of broke. So I
love it.
Having stuff together. Yes. And so yeah, and I mean, just a little side note, I love to dance. So I'm not saying the person that is with me has to dance, but that's what makes me happy. That's what makes me smile. So just, being able to enjoy life together and whatever it looks like, I would love to do that. So those are just some of the, like some of the core things, God, business, love, my son, and he got to look good. Praise God.
So I want to pose this question to you all, and we ask it to our other guests too, but I think you all bring a different perspective to it. Yeah. Okay, so with all that given, at what point do you have these conversations? You follow what I'm saying? Like this is the person that.
In the beginning was the word. Like the first day, the word was God.
Do you all in the beginning was the word? So first day, you covering all these grounds.
Yeah, I mean, people pulling out that paper. We're not okay. How you doing now? How much money you make? That could be scary. Like what? At what point do you case to have that conversation?
Pastor Neil, believe it or not, if you listen to somebody talk, just listen. You'll hear it, and a lot of times it'll come out in the first couple of days. You just listen. You ain't really got to. You don't have to drill somebody like a drill sergeant to be able to pull out some nuggets. And you can throw a business, what about this? And just to see how their mind cultivates an idea. You can talk about God and see when they expound on God, or do they be like, well, who is Moses? Okay, well, we can't talk.
but I guess what I'm saying, and I get what you're saying, but I'm saying, how do you preference that it's not so, okay, this is my list. You know what I'm saying? Because I know there have been in cases I've heard, and we talk to people where we know somebody that was highly offended because the young lady asked him, "What was your 5-year plan?"
Well, yeah, that was,
and they got like really offended about that. Like,
yeah, but
so I'm like, do you take a fry and say, so what's your 5-year plan? How do you ease that in there?
No, but I think it's the art of conversation, and one is knowing how to ask the right questions. That you can ask and learn without it being like a true question. Like she said, it's just how you preface, and not everybody's probably skilled in how to do that. Yeah. And then the other piece of effective communication, you got to listen. You'll learn a lot when people just sharing. You can just ask somebody, tell me about yourself, and you hear a lot in what they're saying, or our morals and values, how they handle relationships, how they handle conflict. So you're already taking note of those things without even having to pose a specific question in that moment. So I hear you. I get that. Now, Jawara, what about you? what is your take on getting to know how much is on the first date versus when do you start really digging into these questions or getting to know more about some of the key things that you're looking for?
You know, I've done the kind of, I guess you'd call it interview dates.
Speed dating.
Right. Well, it wasn't, you know, you're just trying to, because I take marriage seriously. And so I think there are times where it probably got too formal.
Okay.
And it came off on both of us. You know, it was almost stressful.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay.
So I know. I think it needs to be organic. I think once that's happening, that's a sign that this is probably not the one, so to speak, because I really do believe that the person that I meet, that our confirmation of one another will be more organic. I really do believe that, you know, as Carolyn said, things will kind of come out.
Yeah.
You know, and you're praying to God, you're asking God to show you and give you wisdom, you know, about this person. But I'm pretty transparent, so and I don't get offended very easily. So you know, I don't have a problem with it. And I believe the man should be vulnerable first, because that woman is having to submit to him and she needs to know what she's getting into. I think there are some guys out there that try to kind of hide who they are because they want to take some more time to kind of hopefully win her heart before they find out what they're all about. Right. I don't do that. I tell you, you know, you can ask me anything you want to ask me, and I'll give you an honest answer. And oftentimes I say, "Do you have anything else?" They say, "No, that's enough for now." I say, "All right, well, let me know if you come up with something else." Because I have daughters. I want my daughters to feel safe. So why would I want somebody else's daughter to feel safe?
Love that. Love that. Now, I have a question. I know for some of the audience people that are out there that have children, like you all have children. And so I believe it may be different in both your scopes and cases, but as you're dating, how do your kids play a factor in like decisions, or like what does that look like when you are also making sure that the kids are play a part, but not to the point where I've heard people say, well, I got to live my life and it ain't about my kids, where some say something different. And we've heard both. And I'm thinking, wow, that's interesting. Not having been there, so I'd be curious because I've heard you both really reference your children. So just share a little bit about how your children play a part in this as in your dating phase and what that looks like. Jawara, we'll start with you if you want to go first.
Yeah, I actually, I'm pretty transparent with my children because, you know, they're saved and they're walking with the Lord. And also, like, as a guy, I miss stuff. And they're able to
have a female having daughters.
They're able to discern, Daddy, I think she's doing this, or she's saying that, or this is happening. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, yeah, like, all right, because it goes over my head sometimes. I just don't even see it. And so I get them involved. I'll talk to them. You know, at some point I want them to meet her and I want to get their feedback. You know, if my daughters are not pleased with the person that I meet, then I probably won't marry them. And that's how much I value their opinion and their spiritual walk.
Yeah. That's big. That's
big. What about you, Carolyn?
Well, more so recently, my son, he was 15, came up to me. He said, "Mom, when are you going to get a man? When are you going to get married?" I said, "Oh." I said, "Well, we need to pray about, you know, God sends us someone." He said, "Well, I pray every day." I said, "Well, what you praying? Because maybe we're not on the same page." Let's compare notes. It's important for me that my son feels accepted, but I understand. And for him, he's an only child. So for him, it's like, you know, he wants to experience having another sibling. He wants to experience having a father in the home. I get that. But I am really prayerful and careful about the person that I am, because who they are is really going to be a big influence on my child, especially spiritually. And so I watch out for that. So it's important to me as to who I'm dating, who I'm talking to. I do try to, balance and figure out when do I introduce that person that I'm talking to? Like, when is the right time? I don't want to waste a lot of time and then they don't mesh well with my kid. You know what I mean? But then again, I also want to get to know the person by myself before introducing them, to my son. So I am trying to figure out a really good balance in that. So yeah, but my kid, he plays a role as in that he's ready as well. Like we're ready for the next chapter. It's just, when God says that fine, God loving person, he comes.
Your list.
The list. So yeah.
Love it. No, thank you both.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, believe it or not, we are actually over time. And that's what happens when you're having good conversation. Because we didn't even scrape the surface of what we wanted to get into. We got tons of more questions, but we're going to allow you all to kind of give some closing thoughts in a minute. If you're still hanging out with us, won't you drop a breakthrough moment in the comments? Let us know what resonated with you the biggest in this conversation. And y'all know our etiquette is, if something was an aha moment, you're going to drop that bomb in the comment section, because they have dropped a lot of nuggets. You got a lot of nuggets, though. You know, your notepad and all those things to help you navigate. They say bring them back.
Somebody say bring them back.
We will do that. We will consider that. But we appreciate you guys so much. So I would like Jay to give us some closing, just some final thoughts to what you would tell someone who maybe has went that route or going into that route where you've come through, and just encourage them with some final words. And then we'll allow Carolyn to speak on the same.
Yeah, I just say that going through a divorce, I would say that it gets better every year. I can say that for me, that, the pain that you're experiencing now won't be there forever. The fear, the frustrations, it won't be there forever. It gets better every year. I also say that if you're trying to navigate how you get back out into relationships and what you need to be, just try to be a godly person.
Wow.
Like a lot of the things that you think you want or you're trying to be, instead of trying to figure out, okay, I need to work on this, I need to work on that, in order to be married. I have this flaw, I got to fix this before I get married. Just focus on being like Christ. If you're Christ-like and you're becoming more godly, you're going to be a good husband, you're going to be a good wife, you're going to be a good co-worker, you're going to be a good parent, you're going to be, just focus on being godly.
Amen.
And that'll qualify you more than anything to be a good spouse. So that's what I think. Don't be a nervous wreck.
Amen. Amen. Go ahead, Carolyn. What's your closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts are for my ladies. If you are in a place where you're ready and you think that you're ready today, I think one of your testing measures, as I mentioned before, is to find out like what's your driving force for wanting today. If you feel lonely and just wanted to do something, you may want to evaluate why you feel lonely. And sometimes it could be you're trying to fill a void that hasn't been filled by God yet. And you may want to fill that first with God before going out and trying to explore. Because like for me, I did that. And I can tell you it doesn't work. I had to work backwards. And I had to learn God to heal me, and then go, pursue or enjoy the dating or scene. So I was do that first, make sure that the void is filled with God, and then, come on out and join us in this dating world. But yeah, I mean, just and relax. I mean, dating can be overwhelming sometimes, and it really can be unsure because there's so much, and things that definitely have changed from back in the day. But just be yourself, and within who you are, knowing who you are in God, and being yourself. That person. That's what I'm telling myself. He gonna come.
He will. He'll show up.
So yeah, So yeah, that's my words of encouragement for you.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much, and we hope that it's been refreshing to you all as well.
Thank you for having me.
Just again, can't. One day we're gonna be able to, send our guest stuff, but we ain't there yet. So,
we send some love.
Definitely gonna bring you guys back because this is an ongoing relationship. We appreciate so much, and just sharing your insight has not gone unnoticed, and we know that everybody in the comments and gonna replay this will gain strength from your stories. So God bless you all, and we thank you. So we're gonna shoot y'all backstage for a moment. We're gonna end the show.
Great.
Thanks again, and we'll talk to you later.
God bless. Take care.
All right, folks. We appreciate you all so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate so much our guests, and hope that it was refreshing and rewarding to you. Life after divorce. It does not have to be a sad journey or living under the stereo of the churches put you out the pasture. But you can find relationship when you consider all the things that we've navigated in this show. And I think what resonated, what kept coming up was make God your foundation.
Yeah, make him your
and
foundation.
That's what you have heard.
I think that, and also making sure that you take time to whether you're redefining or fully self-discovering, things about yourself, becoming more self-aware. And in that's part of the healing process. And I kept hearing that.
Yeah.
And that may look different for everyone, but just making sure before you just jump back into it, making sure that you've had time to really work through that. And that's a major adjustment. I know both of them talked about, big adjustment, whether from a male perspective or female, those are huge adjustments. And so I commend both of them for just thank you again. They shared such amazing stories. And I know there's and a lot of viewers on here that have been in that place or currently in that place of divorce and wondering, will I find love again? And what does that look like? And not just giving up and saying that, I just don't want to go through it, because you're still in that hurt place. So get healed. And what does that mean? That just the process, so it can look again different for everyone.
And I like to say it this way, position it this way: you will find love again. Will you be ready when the opportunity avails itself?
There you go.
And I think that's it, because if you do that work, if you're doing that work, and it was so many good nuggets. If you're doing that work to fall in love, and I know it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. When you develop that relationship with God, he begins to temper those areas that are bruised. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you're rightly ready to welcome that person in, and you're not living from that template. So,
and then you understand how to love, because I love what Jawara said. We don't want to omit the scripture, because that is a basis of love.
Right,
sometimes people are like, what is love? What's the demonstration of love? Well, go to the word. That's the first demonstration, right?
And not Instagram.
And if you
go to the word.
Not Instagram. Stop following these people that are selling this false story of, they ride or dies and they can't stand each other. But on Instagram, they're gonna tell you they ride and die with everybody, and they won't ride or die with you. Over one argument, they're done and ready to walk out the door. You understand? So truly, and just knowing that, as you grow mature, because there's also a sense of maturity that comes from probably life experiences, and brings about a level of wisdom too. And so most often, it ain't too many people that I would think going into another marriage that didn't learn something from the first. That's probably
absolutely. It's like grade school. You do.
Yeah, you learn, and but again, through God's grace and through His.
And I don't know why, but I'm impressed to say this. I don't know why, but God knows. Find your own voice.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know who that's for tonight, but find your voice. Find your voice. And what that looks like, because a lot of times in relationship, when you've gone through that transition in those hard places, you tend to, trauma has a way of silencing you. You know what I'm saying? But it's in that intimate place with God, you begin to open up and find your voice to define what you like, what you want to do. And you get crystal clear on that. Because I'm a firm believer, and y'all probably heard me say that hundreds of times on this show in the past. You got to know what the heck you want.
And be okay with that. And be okay with that.
Be okay.
And that's what I can appreciate about both of the guests. As much as we were giggling and laughing, it is funny to hear, even when Carolyn started off with like, he has to look good. Hey, but that's real to her.
Yeah,
but that's not to say that
important.
he's not going to be a man of God, a man with a relationship, not and I love that she didn't use what we often hear people say. I just want him to go to church. I'm like, well, what you gonna get out of that if he just showed you?
Yeah.
I mean, that going to church doesn't equate to having a solid foundation in Christ. I'm like, he go to church and still be unsaved, right? So what I'm saying is knowing what you want and being crystal clear,
detail specific.
That voice.
You've got to be.
Yeah.
You've got to be, because a lot of time we make those general statements and you don't really like, what does that mean?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I just want them to love my dog.
Oh, you got to be specific.
What does that mean?
What does that look like?
You want them to pick your dog up. You want them to walk the dog, because we all have different containers, even though it comes in. I'm kind of circling what we already talked about. Even if you're launching off the scripture, we still have views that are that vary of displaying that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I can say I love you, and we went through that. A funny story. We went through that, and y'all have heard the bed story. Y'all, a lot of y'all have heard the bed story, and so Val is a very sentimental person. She likes little notes. She likes little things written on the mirror and stuff. And so I remember we got into a heated discussion, and I said, "Girl, I bought you a bed," and she responded, "A bed?" And I'm like, "What? But in that moment, I expressed that way, but that did not that she didn't appreciate it, but it wasn't looked upon or gleaned upon as being this big thing that I thought I had done. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be careful with those to define those things.
Yeah.
To define those things, what love is to each and every one of us.
Yeah,
but again, guys, we thank you.
Great.
Yeah, this was really good. So now remember, all this month we're going to be doing couples and folk and centered around love. So be sure to tune in.
But we had singles too. It's not just couples.
Well, people. I said people about love. So we're going to be we're going to be talking about love.
What's love?
So what we want to throw out for a moment, if you would like to be a part of our community, we welcome Vicki Mathis, who's a part of our family. So if you would like to be a part of our family, go to the website, not on the screen. Don't go to the one on the screen, but go to Andre Dwayne. Go to Andre Dwayne, and you could go ahead and secure your space. And that way you could get updates of things that we're doing in-house. We're planning for a live event next year, God's will. We'll be having a live event, and we would love for you to be a part. Amen.
Also, if Carolyn or Jawara is still listening, go ahead in the comments, put your handles of your social media platforms, your businesses in there, or the name of the business. How can they order some of the oils? Expedite. Also connect with her. It's around getting your wills, getting your assets in order. Making sure you have a living will and making sure those things are in place. So if you lose yourself or a loved one, your family members aren't trying to figure out what to do, where to go, and how to handle the business after death. So yeah, making sure you put that in there. Reach out to Carolyn. Expedite.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you drop that in the comments. Y'all support her. Make sure if you go to her handles, you'll learn more about what services Expedite has.
So you can find Carolyn on IG Expedite_today.
Oh, there we go.
You can find her on that, and go ahead and follow her. Make sure you follow her and get all of the great insight about planning life, because we got to plan life after life.
Yeah.
Come on, do it right. And she hosts consultations, different things in that manner.
Workshops,
to her workshop,
sessions.
all those things that you can get through her business.
Awesome.
All right.
This has been great.
Guys. It's been a great evening. I'm trying to put her other stuff up.
Okay.
Yeah.
On her Facebook.
On Facebook, you can find on Expedite. And then the last one is her email address, where you can email her if you have any questions. Oh, website. This is the website. I'm sorry. This is her website. Thank you. We have one new family member. Yay! Somebody filled out. No, we have two new family members.
All right.
We have two new family members that have joined the Clarity Lounge family. So don't forget to fill those things out. Y'all, look, it's been real. We have a great show coming up on Monday. I don't know if we're dropping one, but possibly Friday. We might be. Yeah, just follow us and we'll let you know what's coming out.
I thought it was Friday, but then
it might be Friday. And who knows? We will drop it in sometime. So just tune in and we'll let you know. But thanks again for joining in at the Clarity Lounge. We appreciate you guys so much.
It's
so much. It's been real. Close them out, Lady Valerie. I mean, Val. I forgot on the show your Val. In church, you, Lady Valerie.
No, I'm just
so
thank
Val,
you
go
all.
ahead,
Have
Val.
Val. Like, subscribe, share, and make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And thank you for joining us. We will see you on the next episode. Have a good night.